Ardor Next group, we are igniting the blockchain today, the second day of Ardor Days Celebration. Crypto woman here, otherwise known as Elizabeth, with Gabriel Francesch. Tell me that if I said that right. No. Tell us. Right. Tell us.
Gabriel Francesch.
Gabriel Francesch. Okay. Yeah. All right. The wonderful thing about this project is it connects us with people all over the world, different languages, different cultures. And I do apologize to anybody whose names I massacre. But Gabriel, you have been with us as a relatively new participant in the community, but you jumped right in and really have done some incredible things with us. And would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself to get started?
Where can I start? Personal introduction, you mean? I'm
sorry, what?
You want my, okay, I'll introduce myself very quickly.
Yes,
yeah, my name is Gabriel. I've been in blockchain since only a year, and discovered NXT and Ardor in April. And yeah, like you said, it's a project that I really liked from the outset, and jumped right in. I'm joining the community, and really liked what I saw there. What else? If we speak about NXT and Ardor straight away, like I told you earlier, what I like the most is it's a very mature community. You know, you really feel that it comes from somewhere. You know, people have been following the project for 4 years, from the really early days, and you can go back on Bitcoin Talk and see all the exciting stories. You know, it's like so many legendary stories.
How many hundreds of pages do we have there on our thread?
Sorry?
Said I wonder how many hundreds of pages we have there on our thread now.
Oh yeah. I scrolled through them, but I feel I barely scratched the surface.
Right.
But it was always interesting to read the stories about the theater drama and.
Yes. There was a lot of drama there too.
The activity on the asset exchange and all that stuff. You know?
Yeah, good. Well, so you are joining us actually from Asia, from Thailand.
Yeah.
In the middle of where exciting things are happening in the crypto space, and you actually translate. You want to tell us a little bit about your skill set, your superpowers, because you've got.
Sure. So my main gig now is I run a translation agency, and we specialize on translating for the blockchain projects and for the cryptocurrencies and ICOs. So my interest has always been in languages and building bridges between cultures and between people. Mm-hmm. I worked myself as an interpreter between Japanese and French and English and French for a few years. And now, I come this year and seeing what's happening in the blockchain space, I figured I want to bring what I do best to the space. So we started this agency, and it's been very interesting because basically, traditionally, you have good translation agencies that have very good processes and systems in place, but they still have no clue about blockchain. And on the other side, you have blockchain startups, people raising money on ICOs, and the way they handle translation was still very amateur. It's like going on Bitcoin Talk, launching a bounty campaign, and managing different people that they don't know.
Right.
It's a bit messy. So we're about bridging that gap and making sure that blockchain initiatives and projects have the proper resources to scale internationally. And what's been interesting is, like, if you take a small or medium-sized company in France and say they want to expand to England and Italy. They will plan it like, 1 year in advance. They'll get all their content translated, they'll set up the rep office and everything. But what's happening now with blockchain projects, like they do the ICO and then they'll take over the world in the next day.
How does it work?
How does it work, right?
Yeah.
So many steps are kind of missing. So we're about like helping in having better processes, and defining priorities, and basically helping blockchain projects reach out to new markets, like for example, significant markets for crypto, like Japan, China, Korea, and then the next stage is helping them build communities, and eventually better adoption of the solution they're building.
Well, that's an incredible service that you bring, because it does it ramps up the professionalism when we can spread the message in a way that's not just understandable, but actually is in a way that people in a different language would expect it to be received or understood. So that is great. But how did you particularly start working with the NXT Ardor project?
So I joined James was telling me.
Are you with James?
Yeah, I'm with James. We live in the same place.
Are we? Okay, later.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. No, James is the one who got me into NXT and Ardor initially. We live in the same city and we hang out.
Yes.
And he told me, I went to him because I knew he invested in crypto, and I had the goal to turn most of my savings into cryptocurrency. I asked him, what should I do? And he's like, you should really look into Ardor.
Okay.
I think that's the future for blockchain, because they solve the scalability issue, they solve the blockchain bloat, the security, make it more usable for people. So I started looking into it, and he mentioned, maybe you can join the Slack channel. I was like, okay, I'll join the Slack channel also. And then I go on Reddit, and start reading everything that Travis did.
Right.
And like I said earlier, we liked what I saw, and I wanted to be more involved in the community. And I'd say a lot of people acted as role models there, whether it's Peter, Martis, Luca. I saw like they were really giving their time just to move things forward, and promoting, but not necessarily from the investment angle, but really explaining how the tech works, being very diligent in answering any questions people have, whether it's on the help desk channel on Slack or on Reddit or in the NXT Foundation support system. So I really liked how people were dedicated to the project, to the technology.
I'm really happy you brought those guys up. I'd like to say something about them. They've had invitations to come out and talk, because they're very prolific on the Slack channels. I mean, somebody asks a question and one of them are right there with an answer, and they're helpful the whole way to a resolution. But most of them have declined because they say they prefer to stay behind the scenes and continue to work there. And they are true gold to our community. And I wish they would join just so we could say thank you to them all. But so I thank you for bringing them up so we can appreciate them out loud.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it makes a big difference where there's like when there are iconic personalities in the community, and they kind of frame the debate, and make sure things stay on track. Right. And basically, it's just great leaders and role models for people who join the community. I've got a lot of people telling me that once they joined our Slack channel, and they feel like it's a different tone, you know.
Mm-hmm. I said, do you think our Slack channel has a different tone?
Yeah, I think it sounds like the real thing, you know. It's I mean, I've experimented with a lot of the other coins, and you know, each community has a different feel. Yeah. Some of them very childish. Some of them very depressed about the projects. I mean, it's very interesting to see how communities form and the kind of vibe changes around them. And in the case of Ardor, because, like you said, because of the quality engagement we have there, I think it's an extremely solid foundation on which to build a community and to go forward.
And that is true. That is true. So, what is actually your favorite part of being involved with this project?
So yeah, I would lie if I didn't say first the main aspect was investment, incredibly good investment opportunity. Mm-hmm. Because it's a project that, I mean, I have so much respect for the development team because they developed the whole project on no budget, you know. Mm-hmm. And now that they will launch in 3 days a fully developed platform, you know. So that's just incredible. She compared it to other projects that, you know, the first thing they do is raise 20 to 50 million, and then they start, you know, scratching their head and see what they can do with it, and if they can hire developers. Maybe they cannot even find them at that stage. But on the other hand, you've got NXT and other. I mean, NXT first, you know, was developed on no budget, and others followed the same pattern with, you know, just community financing and helping the developers, and it's just incredible. And so yeah, I saw the project as extremely undervalued. You know, people had no idea about it, but you know, everything was already in place for great success. So I guess that, you know, it appealed to me, of course. And then what do I like? I like the community a lot, of course. And how I see myself in the community, I think is as outreach a little bit, because that's what I can do. I can sort of wrap my head around what we're doing and explain it in simple terms, you know. Mm-hmm. So I like to be to answer people's questions, whether it's on Twitter or Slack or other channels. And yeah, it's very enjoyable to share that with people.
And we've talked about the ways that you're actually sharing it in Asia in person, which is pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. That you have some opportunities. You want to tell us about those?
Well, sure. And because of, I mean, Asia, it's hard to imagine. Like when I explain to my relatives or, you know, former colleagues in France, I try to explain to them what's happening here, and it's just hard to explain. Yeah. It moves so fast. I go to Singapore once or twice a month to conferences and so on, and so many projects getting launched, and like they also have like such progressive monetary authority, mm-hmm. you know, supporting ICO, supporting the legal framework, and because of that, so many projects are launching, and it's also a huge market really. Like a lot of projects, for example, launching from Singapore, but you know, targeting users in Indonesia, where you have, you know, 200 million users in Thailand and in the Philippines. So it's a very exciting place, and it is becoming a hub really, where you know, you can network with people launching all these successful ICOs, all these projects. So yeah, every time I can, you know, I speak about Ardor, share the benefits, and it's always very interesting to go to these conferences and they're debating all these blockchain issues, and like, yeah, we still haven't found a solution to the scalability debate, and proof of stake is still unproven technology, and blockchain bloat will be an issue in the coming years, and you know, they all have these massive debates about the blockchain issues, and it is good to know about what the Ardor and NXT teams have been working on for so many years, and know that there is actually the light at the end of the tunnel, and now it's all about spreading the word and building communities all around these regions where people interact and have a strong interest in blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And being active in the region, looking at the issues people talk about and the enthusiasm about blockchain, I'm sure that Ardor will do really well and will gain a lot of attraction and adoption in this region for sure.
Well, that's wonderful. And thank you in advance for what you're going to be doing, and in retrospect for the message that you've already carried to the places.
Sure.
We look forward to working more closely with you in spreading that message across Asia,
Definitely.
starting in Singapore. And what is the most exciting project that you're working on right now?
Right now, well, of course, Ardor is always the most exciting. You mean related to Ardor or other crypto projects?
No, let's talk about Ardor next. What are you doing for us?
Right, yeah. So one thing we're trying to do is, so we generate a lot of documents for clients, right?
Yes.
So they send us source documents, and then we give them a target document, which is the translation of what they gave us, right? So what we're trying to do is to notarize those documents and give them a guarantee, like immutable guarantee, that we produce the target translation for their content.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think that there's a case for that, because some of the content we translate is high stakes, and we need to show that we take responsibility for the work we carried out, and we give a guarantee for the quality. So yeah, we've been looking at either NXT or Ardor. I mean, Ignis. It's very easy to do actually on those blockchain, where we just we would hash all the documents and then send as a message, for example, to prove that the source document, target document existed at some point in time and were transferred, and then the clients can verify that. And
you're using the NXT blockchain for that transaction.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's still still something we're working on, but it's an easy use case, and I'd love to just implement it. Yes. And offer it as an extra service. Just so many things that we can do, and sometimes it's not doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. NXT blockchain has so many good tools. So many things you can do through the API with conditional payments and, for example, or notarizing, sending messages. So yeah, we're just using what's available and building small use cases here and there.
And the interesting thing is those features that you mentioned, and a few more that we've developed and tried and tested over the years, are actually going to be available on the Ignis child chain that's going to be Ardor launch in just hours. As we're coming down right here, and when the new year launches, 100 hours at UTC time, we are going to launch that Genesis block, and hopefully between now and then we'll have a chance to look at the new client, the new software, and poke around in that a bit. But so you're relatively new to the blockchain area, but you've quickly, probably because of the content that you consume and translate, have become a sort of an authority on this, right? And a quick learner. But there are many people joining this space right now, and especially the Ardor Next community with this excitement. Do you have any advice to give to people when they enter the crypto scene or our space particularly, either?
There's a lot of material available, so read up, For example, there's this really good book about NXT, Snapshot. It's good to read about the history of the project. And NXT has a lot of history. So, go through all the major posts that people made, go through the Reddit, go through some of the Slack archive. There's a lot of information out there to explain how the project works. The wiki is extremely well documented as well. So it's all, if you can look at the project and dive deep and learn everything you can about it, especially if people are making any kind of investment, I think it shouldn't be light-hearted and not investing because some guy on Twitter said the price will go up or anything. That doesn't mean anything. But yeah, dive really deep and understand what this is all about and where the project came from, who are the people running it, who are the people in the community. So research really well. That's my advice. And with anything other, it's very easy.
We anticipate a lot of businesses and people to start using Ardor platform. And hopefully these will be global and international applications, and they may need some translation work done. Tell us your company name and plug it. Go ahead and let us know how we get in touch with you for that.
So my company is called Kotoba, which means word in Japanese.
Okay.
I have close ties with Japan. Always felt strongly about the Japanese language, so that's the reason we named it that way.
Okay.
And essentially, we're bridging a gap between, a professional translation agency and then innovative, disruptive blockchain startups, and giving them all the tools to scale globally. Because typically you'd have, everything happens so fast in crypto. People raise money on an ICO, and then suddenly they need to grow a user base all around the world, like at the same time. So it's a very big challenge because running a blockchain project, there's so many challenges at the same time. They need to get the tech right. They need to make sure the community is happy all the time. They need to build a team. They need to make sure the financials work for their tokens. They're trading successfully. There's so many things to care about. And while doing all that, growing a community all around the world is a huge job, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're here to do is just giving them the tools, the language tools, so they can do that easily. They can easily communicate with their audience in Japan, China, Korea. So what we do on top of translating the basic content, so as the white papers for the investors, the documentation, the website, we can also help with managing the social channels in different languages.
Oh, wow. That's
so something that people ask us. And then, it's about also helping companies to market in different countries too. So something we've been working on, and we'll start marketing as a service in the first quarter next year. Okay. Because once, the good thing being a translation agency is that we don't compete with too many people in the space. We can be friends with the PR, the agencies, the marketers, the lawyers, the market makers. Mm-hmm. So we have a good network of connections. And once we translate content for a project, the next questions come up all the time, right? So I saw that you did some work for that exchange in Japan. Can you get us listed? I saw that many people in Korea. Can you get us published? Can you support us during this or that conference?
So you can do consultancy at some point, almost.
Sorry?
You could build this into a consultancy almost at some point.
Yeah. I mean, for now, I always like, I'm always very open about sharing connections. Always trying to give value first, to people. And if I can make a little introduction, I'll just make it, pay it forward. But just to structure our services a bit more, I think that's the direction we'll go in, and actually provide a bit more hands-on approach on building communities, successful communities, and raising investors' interest in Korea and Japan, for example.
Well, we certainly appreciate the translation you've done in the NXT and Ardor projects, and we look forward to working with you more closely on translation projects, and not only that, but on meetups and conferences in Asia as well. So we'll see more of you. I do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
You will. So thank you for your time, and we will be signing off now.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.